I've been here before. I know this scene. When everything you thought certain is not quite what it seems. When you take a bite of that golden apple and find it rotten to the core. A bitter taste of reality, shocking to the senses, shifting perceptions like the doors. Yes, I've been here before. I know well the scene, but the plot's not the only thing, not quite what it seems. I'm not a weak woman. Power, I don't lack. Piercing and resilient, I got a soul built to last. Broken open like the lotus, I rose out of that mud. This heart, it's been manhandled, not treated with kid gloves, but I'm wildly open, defiantly free, no longer searching outside of myself for those who hold the key. I hold all the keys in full possession of me. That is a revision of a poem I wrote a long time ago called Checkmate. And it really does capture the energy of what's coming in with Mercury retrograde. And I'm sure you're seeing the title of this download, Pick Your Poison. And it might be setting your hackles up a little bit, but we're going to dive into the astrology that's on deck with this particular Mercury retrograde, which is going down in Sagittarius, the fixed star Rosselhag, actually, which is the head of the snake charmer, and the constellation Ophiuchus. So those Sagittarians that are born between November 30th and December 18th will really feel the amplitude of this energy signature that is going to be coming in with this Mercury retrograde. It's already been pretty intense. A lot of people have been feeling this energy come in. Do expect for that energy to only continue to build. And the reason behind that is it's also coming in tandem with a very significant astrological transit we're moving through, which is Jupiter, Sagittarius's ruler, also one of Pisces' ruler, which is the house of karma, which is the house of our blind spot and all of those things that we need to integrate in order to alchemize that which has been a poison to us, that which has kept us from activating our full potential. That's what it feels like it is. It's an opportunity to activate our full potential, act being the key word. But it's important that as we prepare to enter into this next act, yes, it is a bit of theater that is coming in here as well, because the other constellation that we have this action going down in as a result of the precession of the equinoxes is Scorpius. Okay, so we have that energy front and center. It's going to be a bit of theater, darling. Do be prepared for that. There will be the usual characters. There will also be the unusual characters as we move through this retrograde, which will bring elements of the past forward, and potentially the most alluring, the most intoxicating, the most enticing or tempting, but also the most poisonous for transmutation, for alchemy, for healing. This energy is going to be traveling with us from November 25th through December 15th, which coincides with the full moon that will be coming in Gemini. So with Jupiter in Gemini and this energy that we're already moving through with this transit, which is really challenging us to broaden our perspective, to broaden our range when it comes to our communications, also to look toward the future with a sense of how do we move this into greater territory? How do we amplify the voice? How do we expand our reach? And we each are playing this out in our own way, in our own lives. We also see that there is a bit of revolutionary energy, emphasis on the evolutionary aspect that's going down in terms of more and more people are starting to take to the airwaves. And the reason why is because there is a need to get your message out there. Your voice is contributing to the sounding for the call for change. And that's coming in since we had the transit of Pluto moving out of Capricorn into Aquarius. So these are really dynamic times that we're moving through. And this particular cycle is quite significant, quite important, because it's allowing us to transmute the cause into the cure. Okay. I did have a particular channeled song come through, and that is Prince's Controversy. This really captures the energy and the essence of this particular Mercury retrograde. There will be the usual elements in play where there's quite a bit being stirred up. We're certainly seeing that happen when we look at pop culture, what's happening with the death of celebrity. We're no longer sort of holding up these false idols. We're also recognizing what is no longer worthy of our devotion. And we are starting to get centered on where we really do need to focus our energy moving into the future. That's everything to do with the activation of the Aquarian age. It's not so unusual. We've been through this before. Those of you who were around during the Summer of Love, you already know what this is all about. It's the same trip. And we're moving into this energy now, but with that element of both Ophiuchus, the snake charmer, okay, do expect there to be a lot of silver-tongued communications, a lot of slick talkers, a lot of charlatan kind of energy out there as well that you do need to be aware of. This can be very charming energy. It can be very alluring energy, but in some cases, if you let something too close, it could bite you, okay? And this is something you do need to be aware of. Communication can take on a poisonous tone. It can take on a slanderous tone. There's also going to be a fair amount of that tricky energy out there as well. We know that the trickster is nigh, and this has been coming forward quite forefront, actually, quite in the forefront. It's not like it's really a backdrop energy. It's really almost like at this point, it feels almost like a goading energy, like, oh yeah, I'm here, I'm on the scene. And it's kind of baiting. This energy will continue to pick up. There can be a lot of secrecy and also mental manipulation that plays out at this time. 8:08 on the clock with that. Okay, so this is something you want to be aware of as you step forward on your path. And as long as you are paying attention to the energy, you're not going to be led astray. This is the piece that you have to remember, especially with Scorpius being one of the constellations really activated during this cycle. Scorpions, right? They are able to feel the vibration of things to come. They keep their ear close to the ground to understand what's coming in. And so it's the same with you, okay? Keep your feet close to the ground. Make sure you do go out, touch some earth, stay connected, man, get grounded out. There will be a lot of energy coming in. You will feel sensitive. You want to make sure that you use that energy to create an atmosphere of pronoia, not paranoia, as Rob Brensky had once said. It's about really understanding that all of the energy, including the less savory bits that come into your field of awareness, is there to work on your behalf. It's there to work for you, not against you, right? So just because you pick up on some heavy energy, and just because we are going through this cycle where we're all moving through that dystopian sort of landscape together, okay? But it's to get to the other side where the sun rises again, and we all make it. We find a way to make it through. But as we're heading that way, there are things that can pop up that can move us into a fear space, or that can move us into an overly suspicious space. energy that could stir us up to act more out of our nature. And so if you can sort of hold your horses, okay? Sagittarius energy. Remember, if you can hold your horses a bit, horses, right? They want to charge forward with that optimism, right? Those centaurs, they like to live the good life. They want to move into expansion. They want to develop their own philosophy of life, and all of these things are wonderful, and they are on deck. Certainly, we do have this energy coming in with this particular Mercury retrograde where it is trine Mars. And so that's a very positive astrological influence. It does mean we can be a bit daring, a bit dashing, that we can go rogue, that we can take some risks. Do expect you will stir up controversy as you listen to your soul's directive. There are things that you are going to say, there are views you're going to have, there's decisions that you're going to make. There's hills that you're willing to take a stand on that other people are really going to be shocked by. They don't know how to take this in. Do expect to stir things up. And in fact, I would say if you're not causing the stir on some level, get to it. You're not really working with the creative energy that's available on this cycle, because it's all about us really breaking free of the confines, the limitations, the expectations, the shoulds, all of the isms, okay, to have kind of this wide open, clear template that allows that apparent chaotic force, which is chaos, the creative force of the universe, the multiverse, to come through us in a way that makes our life art. Okay, there are no mistakes when it comes to art, and it's very important at this time to view your life as a work of art. It shouldn't be static. It shouldn't be in some rigid holding pattern. There's a necessity to allow your expression, however that comes through in your communications with others, how you're greeting other people, how you're moving through your relationships, how you're moving through life, how you're facing your challenges, how you're doing your work in the world, you know, how you're showing up on the job authentically, transparently, being true to yourself. This is essential. Okay, so you know that when you start to bring parts of yourself out of hiding, which is what this is about, it's kind of a great unveiling energy, right? We've seen this happening. We've seen this happening. Pay attention to what's been going on just in pop culture, right? We've seen this happening. There's hidden stuff being revealed. It's happening on a global level. This is going to continue, but it's happening with you too. So hidden parts of yourself are kind of popping up and taking you by surprise and saying, hi, I'm here. Yep, this is me too, right? But where you're not willing to do that, what you're going to find is that circumstances will arise that will pull those hidden parts out of you, whether through provocation or just something being revealed, unmasked, things are coming up and out. At this time, it's really important to pay attention to the Hermetic axiom, to your own self, be true, okay? And this is how we're moving into this energy when we're looking at the Sabian symbol of a Chinese laundry that comes in at 22 degrees Sagittarius with this Mercury retrograde. It's important that we do respect our need for seclusion at this time. So even as you are preparing to bring your voice forward, even as you are airing something out, there's also a necessity to know when it's time to go with the flow of turning within. You may feel like creating space for yourself right now. That's because, like I said, there's hidden aspects of yourself that are going to be emerging. There are also going to be secrets coming up and out. You're going to see hidden aspects of situations. You're going to see hidden aspects of other people that you are dealing with. And as this happens, it's going to cause you to want to pull back the energy. Why? To tap into that Scorpio current, right? We know this Pluto energy. We've been moving through it, and we do have Mars front and center. But see, Mars gives us the strength and the courage and the initiation energy to actually be able to grasp that, right? Grasp that challenge of doing the transformational work, to imbibe a bit of the poison to arrive at the cure. And the only way we can really do that is if we pull our energy back a little bit and sit with all this hidden material that's surfacing and allow it to inform us about the next step in that process of alchemy, transformation. Okay. You will come to tap into a deeper, richer part of yourself through this process. So where you can pull your energy back during the initial phases of this cycle and allow this to come in, the better off you are going to be as you're moving through this energy. Now, the means of expansion is 26 degrees Taurus, which is all about resisting any kind of notion that you are somehow less than, that's brought on by other people's judgments, their criticisms, any kind of gossip they're spreading around, their clashing of views with your own, okay? Or people who don't value what you bring to the table, who don't appreciate your presence, who don't recognize the value of your work or how you're putting your energy out there into the world. You can't let that influence how you allow your voice to be heard or how you show up in the world. You have to be true to yourself. That is the challenge of this particular Mercury retrograde, and it's actually the thing that will move you into greater expansion. It is what will move you forward as the year comes to a close and you prepare to open up to the energy of 2025, which will only continue to gain that momentum of moving into expansion as we enter into the first half of 2025, which comes to a crescendo when we have the nodes of destiny finally shift and we are firmly in that golden age of Aquarius. Now, and there's also a lot that is going to be shifting, and at times it will feel like a tower, but it's up to you whether you let that tower shock you senseless and have you crumbling and searching through the rubble, or whether you allow yourself to be very bold and daring and understand the opportunity for transformation, and you ride that lightning. And maybe even in some cases, you deliver some towers. You willingly bring the tower upon the kind of landscape you're looking at because you know radical change is needed. It is a bit of that rebellion energy. And it doesn't have to be all intense in the way that it can provoke resistance or provoke fear. There can be a bit of that sort of like sacred clown energy, that fool that is just quite ambitious and optimistic and wants to embrace more of a collective perspective, wants to broaden the horizons. And that energy will continue to build as well as we move through this Mercury retrograde to prepare us to enter into 2025 with more of that spirit, to be the merrymakers of the world, to bring our art and expression forward as a vehicle for change, okay? So there's something about moving out of that mean and heaviness of that initiatory gateway we went through with Pluto in Capricorn to more of the sort of like merry prankster kind of energy that comes in with Pluto now in Aquarius that will move into its forward progression once we're out of this Mercury retrograde. This is our last Mercury retrograde of the year, and it is closing things out with punctuation. That's how I want to put it right now. Punctuation. For some of you, it's going to be a period, okay? Serious. It's just like, period, okay? For others of you, it's going to be an exclamation point. Now, if you don't work with this energy and if you allow yourself to kind of buy into the narrative that's going to be spun right now by the purveyors of fear, then I have to tell you, you might end it with a question mark, okay? We don't want that. We want you to be able to move forward, really feeling like you're tapped into your essence, like you know what you're dealing with here, you know you're fit for it, you know that you got what it takes to face your challenges, and you're ready to move forward boldly, okay? Boldly, even into the unknown, all right? You know that it doesn't have to be something to be scared of. It can be something you can be excited about, because anything is possible. And why does that have to be a point of resistance? Okay. So we also have this energy building. Okay. As we move through Mercury retrograde, there is this progression of the degrees as well. It's moving backwards. So where we wind up on that full moon will be 6 degrees Sagittarius when we're in that very important full moon time, another initiatory gateway where we are starting to really leave the past behind, leave the south node behind. Hopefully you aren't, looking back in the rear view mirror, considering a U-turn there. That's not where you should be going. You should be moving forward. A lot of people can have resistance to that because they feel like, but no, there's something I left behind in the past. Well, let me tell you, if that's meant to catch up to you, it will. But you need to move forward at this time and trust the way your timeline's rolling out. You also have to respect the way others' timelines are rolling out too, okay? And right now, more than ever, we really do need to hold our peace as it relates to the bigger collective picture. So if you want to be of service, if you want to do your seva, if you want to practice your dharma, then that is for you to walk your path and really hold your piece of that collective energy rather than minding how other people are doing that work, what rate they're moving. Okay, that's none of your business here. At 22:33 on the clock, you see this is what provides like a helpful energy to support the foundation that we're building for the future here. Now, 6 degrees Sagittarius is the Sabian symbol of a game of cricket, and it is about moving out of that more self-identification to more of a collective consciousness. It's also moving out of the place of the problem that keeps us divided into more of an expansive, solution-oriented view. Okay, so this is about us participating in community. But what does that community look like? Well, that's what we're going to figure out as we move ahead. And we all are going to be sort of walking down our path on that road to the stone of destiny, where we're going to find different characters coming our way, different soulmates linking up to us, and they form our community, that we are moving forward toward that grander vision that serves the collective community as a whole. So this is also about a lot of grassroots movement energy coming in, really finding the people that you connect with, finding the people you are meant to co-create with at this time, and holding a common vision together. But that's just one vision of many visions of this one collective energy that is coming in to create art together. This is what we're moving into. It is that energy of innovation, and let's draw outside the lines. Let's not be limited by old perspectives or old ideals or ways of doing things or even self-concepts here. Let's look at more of a collective energy. And the more we can do that and really understand that macrocosm is a reflection of microcosm, that everything we see in our reality is a mirror for a reflection, and we're also casting a reflection back in relation to how we are able to integrate that reflection and use it as a tool of empowerment is such a key point at this time. It's the means of expansion, and also the means of expansion with that energy of 6 degrees Sagittarius is 10 degrees Taurus. Okay, so that is the image of a Red Cross nurse. So this is all about understanding who you are and how you show up for others. And that will be reflected to you by how people mirror that back to you, their experience of how you've shown up in their life, you see? So this energy is front and center, and it's meaty stuff. It's the meat of the matter, so to speak, but it's something that brings a future vision forward that is truly sustainable if we're willing to dive into this and do this work. So some different meta themes that are coming forward during this Mercury retrograde. I just want to give you some words, some key words that you can kind of tune into. I'm also going to get key words for each of the individual signs. We're going to pull out some spirit board action, bringing in the letters. And I'm also going to get us some plant allies too. More on why I want to bring in plant allies in just a moment here, but I want you to be able to sort of tuck these meta themes in your back pocket so you'll have an understanding as the energy starts to roll out what exactly is going on, and you can put it to good use. We have controversial ideas. Controversy is a big meta theme in this cycle. Critics, online stalking, right? Sudden situations, fights, all right? So this energy is front and center. Now, simultaneously, we have other aspects coming into play, such as sarcasm, unwillingness to be PC, bucking current trends, giving the finger to what's trending, cleverness, wit, tricky energy, and also sensitivity used as a source of illumination. So really pay attention to the energy at this time. It really is what will inform you best, because there's going to be a lot of word salad out there. There's going to be a lot of people using their words, in such a way that it's like they're spin doctors, okay? Everybody's putting their own spin on things. The manipulation will be front and center just because of the nature of the energy that we are moving through. And so this is what we do need to be mindful of, especially with Russell Hague in play, okay? Russell Hague is a fixed star. It's always the constellations that have the biggest effect in relation to what's rolling out as we move through these different transits, okay? So we know we're going to be working with the Scorpio energy. We're going to be working with the Ophiuchus energy. And Ophiuchus, of course, is that sort of merging of the Scorpio with the Sagittarian energy. This will bring opportunities for us to broaden our view, to be more broad-minded, to drop our BS, okay, to mock up new reality tunnels that have maybe more open-ended destinations instead of set points of where we expect to arrive as we travel through them. It can also encourage us to look at life through more of a philosophical kind of lens, maybe even embrace a new philosophy or create a philosophy of our own. 2911 on the clock. You may create a philosophy of your own. It may be a philosophy others don't agree with. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have value or merit. Absolutely not. There's a reason it's coming through you. This is also a highly visual time, okay? So do look for visuals to come front and center. Now, we've seen a little bit of distortion with that, with AI, right? But this is sort of us reclaiming that ability to bring visions forward and taking the power back out of the hands of technology and rooting it through the ground of our being, through how we share the visions we conjure up in our minds with the world through mediums like video or the art that we share or even our presentation. You may choose to sort of introduce the energy that you're holding by how you shift your hairstyle, how you shift the clothes you wear. You know, you may start to really show up differently. You may get backlash for that. People may not get what's going on with you. But it's all transformation in motion at this time. And the more you can flow with that energy, the better off you're going to be. Now, I do have to say, I think of this Pick Your Poison too. And I also thought of that song, old school song, Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. That coming through too, because one thing that Russell Haig is known for is to bring bad luck through bad broads. It's known to bring bad luck through women. It also brings its fair share of perversion, depravity, and overindulgence. Now, hello, when we're looking at that Sagittarian energy, the centaur, we know centaurs like to have a good time, right? But you amplify that with Jupiter, with the current transit we got going on. Remember that Jupiter, while it does bring good luck and where you may be able to get out of a bind or two, you may be able to, slip past there without having to, get a slap on the wrist for certain missteps, okay? It can also make everything bigger, right? And in this climate, it can shine a spotlight on you. So this is something that you really, really do want to be aware of, right? If you have been, working to get yourself fit, you've been looking to drop, some of the heaviness you put on your body while you've been moving through some tough stuff, I have to say, you really do want to maybe figure out a way that you can stay on track with that at this time. It could be really easy to backslide through the holidays, okay? Just something coming through. I really wanted to tap into this energy, though, just to kind of give us an awareness, because I know a lot of people are feeling it. And I want to get us plant allies to work with during this cycle. So this is kind of going to be tapping into a collective read. And then I'm going to get some meta themes, some power words, some information for each of the individual signs here, okay? Just going to be just a bite, all right? We're just going to tap into the energy and give you your keys that will open many doors if you remember what comes through here, okay? So the reason why I want to bring in the plant allies is that in ancient times, Ophiuchus gave the power of plant allies, herbs that have healing qualities, metaphysical properties that can be beneficial for alchemy, for transmuting poisons, and also the skill to cure bites from poisonous serpents. So I thought this would be a cool way to sort of root that, since we are moving through the Ophiuchus energy with this Mercury retrograde, to get us some plant allies, what we're being asked to work with at this time. And this is for all signs, okay? So just tapping into this energy. I do wish the Sagittarians out there happy birthday. It's your solar return. You might be in quite a reflective space, I have to say, with this particular solar return launching in tandem with retrograde Mercury in your sign. So you might be sort of in a very nostalgic mindset. You might be looking back over the past. You might really be integrating a lot of past experiences. And I feel as though you really can clear the slate and be prepared to move into so much like blessing and bounty and big energy. I just pick up big energy, like more room for you to take up, you know, in 2025. It feels very positive, Sag, okay? So I just wanted to acknowledge that and bring your energy in. And let's go ahead and get the words, okay? Let's get the words for each sign as we do this, all right? Because I'm going to call each of you in and I'll look at the bottom of the deck, okay? With each of the zodiac signs I call in here, and that will give you sort of a focal point word or your meta theme word for you to keep with you as you move through this Mercury retrograde, okay? And we are going to start with Sagittarius since it is their season. So calling in Sagittarius. Offering. Your word is offering, okay? So you might want to think of giving some kind of offering. And this can even, ooh, and something just fell away to the side here. Let's see, we had quite a bit fall away to the side here, Sag. What came in here? Patience. You're going through an initiation. You are opening up as a conduit, and you need to accept the energy that wants to come through you right now. It will bring psychic healing. See if you can eliminate some of the fear you have about receiving the energy that wants to come in for you right now. It's your offering to allow this to come through you. It will bring about psychic healing for you, I have to say. Not only will it bring psychic healing for you, it will also bring healing to others. There's a message that you have to share. There's something that needs to come through you. It is your offering. Do expect that the channel is about to be cleared for you. And this is your offering. So all of these words are coming into play for you, and certainly for the collective as well, because we're all moving through this Mercury retrograde energy. So this is about us finding acceptance. It's about us understanding that we are a conduit and we hold our own part of that energy, and we are part of the change. We are a conduit. We are a receiver and we are a transmitter. Are we open to receiving? How can we clear the channel? And what are we transmitting out there? What signal are we sending out there? It can be reflected in what's kind of coming back to us, I have to say. Patience, okay? Now is the time to move nice and slow. It may feel like things are going slow-mo. You may have the slows because you're experiencing conscious expansion. There's new energy coming into your field, new energy coming into your life, new energy moving through you, waking up in you. And this is all part of a very deep psychic point of integration that will bring healing into your life. It will also give you the courage to really be true to yourself and to bring your unique gifts forward into the world, which we're all meant to do when we're moving into the age of Aquarius. Okay, so very powerful that came in for you, Sagittarius. Sag was like, wait, let me give you all some more information about what needs to go down here. Okay, Sag. Now we are going to call in Capricorn. Capricorn, your word is wisdom. Okay. Wisdom. You need to remember the magic There's wisdom in your magic. Unicorn coming through as an ally to you, Capricorn. Calling in Aquarius. Peaceful warrior, Aquarius. You hold a lot of medicine, Aquarius. You have what is needed to transmute the poison so we all can arrive at the cure. Big medicine woman energy coming through you. The waters that you hold, they have healing potential. You may need to release some of those waters through tears. Allow this to come through, allow your sensitivity to come through, to bring a clearing, to bring peace, to bring a new way forward. The way forward is peace. It's a new type of warrior who leads with the heart, not with the shield. Not with the shield. It's like there's defenses coming down here. It's a big change for you, Aquarius, okay? And you are leading that charge, okay? Calling in Pisces. Pisces, your word is transfiguration. And number 22 there, it's so you can come into alignment. So you may be trying to hold too tightly to something, trying to keep it together at this time, a tower that's meant to fall. There's a transformation that is about to occur here. I think you're already sensing it. It's rising up through you first. I feel like you're doing a lot of clearing of the root chakra. So there might have been something that's really rocked your stability. And this is being cleared out. It's going to bring an activation. It's that power rising up subterraneanly through you. So also look for the subconscious to become conscious, and whatever was subconscious as it emerges, it might be a little shocking to you, but it creates a way through. Potent energy there for Pisces, okay? Aries, calling in Aries. Aries, your word is protection, and you do have strength to rise above challenges of the past, where you do feel like perhaps you have energy coming towards you that feels in any way attacking, threatening, compromising. This is assuring you that you are in full possession of your energy, your power, that which is for you is secured for you, and it is totally warded. You may also want to do some warding. You may be sort of a target during this cycle, but I don't think those will get very far with you having the blessing energy. You are ruled by Mars, and we do have Mercury trine Mars through this cycle. So there's some kind of initiatory action you take during this cycle that really does protect where you're moving in the future, okay? What you're moving into is warded from any of this interference, okay? So that wanted to come through. You might have felt a need to sort of put in reinforcements or protection. This is coming through as don't worry about it. Whatever was challenging in the past, you have what it takes to overcome it. Okay, and calling in Taurus. Acceptance, Taurus, okay? Acceptance is necessary to have a building block for the future. Acceptance is the foundation of your future. There may have been something that really changed the landscape of your life. There may have been a tower that has already come, or you can sense it's on its way. Whatever this is, just let it move through you, even though it may feel like it rocks your foundation a little bit. This is what will give you a way through. You will come to understand later that this shakeup was necessary for you to arrive at your future destination that will be your point of destiny. And it was 44:11 on the clock. See, you have to align with the proper timeline here, the proper path. And I feel like maybe you've been kind of like holding ground in a place, in a position, in a situation, in a relationship for too long. And so something has to come and sort of like shake that so you'll get where you need to go. This is like a course adjustment here. Accept this when it comes. Accept it when it comes. 44:44 on the clock. It's divinely sanctioned and it's in your best interest, even though it might not seem like that initially. Ultimately, it brings you healing, okay? All right. Calling in Gemini. Gemini, you have journey. Okay, so I feel like initially as this cycle begins, you're spiraling inward. It's an inner journey. And then I feel like whatever you retrieve from this inner journey, I'm almost getting the sense of you finding something that allows you to obtain the cauldron of Dagda. It allows you to finally be ready to enter those waters and swim to that distant shore off in the horizon. It's a big change in your life, okay? But when you get to the other side there's this beauty of this transformation. We see the rainbow energy here. So you just may find your pot of gold. This is some alchemy work that's happening here, but I feel like first you're journeying within, and then that energy, what you retrieve there, it feels like there's some key you retrieve from journeying within during this retrograde cycle, that once we move out of that energy with the start of the year, it brings in that alchemical moment where you realize the beauty that came as a result of the journey that you have been on, inwardly and outwardly. There's some kind of real appreciation for the journey when you get to the other side, okay? That's how that's coming through. All right, calling in Cancer. Cancer, you have foresight, right? So you really do want to use this time to just allow yourself to sit with, I'm hearing probabilities, okay? Factor that into your equation. Think of every possibility. And when I say that, I mean, really open your mind to every possibility. I feel like you've been looking at too small of a range of possibilities, and you need to expand that a little bit. Something about that will give you new insight, will give you foresight about how to move forward once this energy of Mercury retrograde clears. There's also something coming through here where there's smoke, there's fire. So you might want to do a little scrying as well by fireside. It might kind of allow you to see through any kind of clouds of confusion or any energies that may currently be veiled to you, so you can have clear insight about the next steps to take. Creating this space for this foresight will be very beneficial for you in this cycle, Cancer, okay? Leo, calling in Leo. Leo, purity. Okay, so it's time to return to a more innocent time. Maybe you are looking back on your childhood a bit. You're integrating very young parts of yourself. You might want to allow yourself to have some time for the things that used to be simple pleasures when you were a kid. Time to daydream, time to make believe, time to maybe take on an imaginary friend or two and just to go out into the world and explore it with eyes of wonder. But this is just about returning to that quality of simplicity before all the outside experiences and opinions and people, convoluted that. I feel like there's sort of a stripping away that's happening here, stripping away of projections that you took on, just so you can get back to the purity of your true essence here, right? And there's something about this being very integrative and healing for a young part of yourself. Some of you are calling a young soul part back to you, and you're recovering the magic that comes along with that too. Beautiful energy there, Leo, okay? Calling in Virgo. Virgo, your word is initiation, okay? So yes, you're going through a powerful initiation at this time. It's an initiation of the heart. It's also about you really coming home to your heart within yourself. This is exalted energy here, big empress, big emperor energy. You're doing a lot of transformation in relation to the old cycle, in relation to the karmic cycle that's being cleared now. This is all to bring a cracking open within you. It's breaking you open into greater potential, greater expansion into love. And so I do feel like you are being initiated into the house of love. And the door to love is opening within you. And it's providing a new way through, a new way forward. There's a really nurturing experience on deck that's going to come through for you during this cycle. It feels like it's a gift from your ancestors. It will bring you into alignment. If you're not sure what the path of heart is for you with this 38 energy, do look for help and assistance with this. And I do feel like the way through will be found. It really comes to a culmination with the full moon, okay? There's something that's lit up at that time for you on the 15th. Okay, Libra. Big collective energy coming in here too with Libra because of the South Node action. Wisdom. Oh, so Libra, Capricorns could be a good ally for you at this time to build a little magic in your world. I'm getting last unicorn energy here. There is something about recovering some magic from your roots. There's some magic from your roots that's being activated now. There's some kind of alchemical knowledge awakening within you. This is also reminding me of the energy of the centaur, the centaurian horse that often comes through in the imagery of the different directions. And I believe it's associated with the direction west. So this has something to do with transmuting the emotions, okay? Transmuting the emotions to create clarity where there's been too much sort of stirred up from the subconscious that has clouded the vision. It's almost like you need to recover this unicorn. It's like the last unicorn, and there's this need to bring this magic forward so it's not lost to the archives of the past. That's what I feel here. And there's a lot of veiling around this energy. There's been a lot of cloaking around this energy. I feel like in order to recover this particular magic, you need to get down to the root of it. There's something about going really deep down to the root, maybe even something that you're pulling up and out through the root chakra. And once this is cleared, then you'll be able to retrieve this magic, okay? Labyrinth energy, willow energy, coming through here. It's also associated with 10. So there's something happening right now where you're sort of in the betwixt and between place. You're right at that point where you have one foot on the old timeline. This download came in for you, I think, a couple months ago. You have one foot on the old timeline where you are closing up and transmuting the energy of the old karmic cycle. And you have another foot that is on the new timeline, something you already sort of time hopped, into to mock up for the future, but you're bringing the energies together in the present. And there's something about, yes, there's something from the past you need to retrieve here. It's a special magic. You'll find it in your roots. That'll mean something a little bit different for each of you. I'm hearing there's going to be synchronistic signs in relation to this, so pay attention. And this is certainly coming in for the collective with the South Node action going on, especially right now with Mercury retrograde. Okay, it's a big transformation point. Okay, and finally we have Scorpio. Scorpio, your word is surrender, okay? This is about complete release, letting go, being totally wide open. And also with passion flower there, just softening, 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 softening into, anything that gives you a sense of anxiety around that, around letting go. I think of the word surrender. I know a lot of people associate it with like sweet surrender, but I know the etymology of the word, and I know that surrender really does mean to give something up under emotional duress. So I feel like this is something that's challenging for you to let go of. It may be a viewpoint, it may be a way of seeing a situation, it may be a resistance to how changes are rolling out in your life, but there's something here about just trust and let go and give over. In fact, I encourage you maybe to work with those terms a little bit. Trust, let go, give over, because these are actions that can be taken passively that allow you to really own your power. It's a matter of choice rather than feeling like you are being pressured into letting something go. When we release, that's something very empowering. We're choosing to no longer let something have a grip on us. And I feel like this is coming through quite strongly. Also, collective energy here, okay? Collective energy coming through here. We may be feeling like we're being dragged, like we're having to let go of something that we've had too strong of a hold on, because we just feel like, no, it has to be this way. 56:44 on the clock. We have to let go though, and just be open to what wants to come through now, because truly it is about bringing us into alignment. And it is what is the foundation for our future. It is the foundation of future manifestations that are coming into being. That is the stuff of our destiny. That is the stuff of our dreams. So give over to the energy. This is for all of us. We're all moving through this territory very, very strongly right now, powerfully at this time. But Scorpios, you will really be feeling this. Just do what you can to experience the beauty, the relief, the ease that happens when you just let go. You just let go and release, okay? All right, let's go ahead and get a plant ally that wants to journey through this Mercury retrograde cycle with all of us. We'll do a little read here to see what plants want to come forward and share their medicine with us through that energy of Ophiuchus to give us the power to cure what has bitten us on the ass, so to speak, to transmute the poison and shed the old skin, to shed the old identity, to open up to the new form. What plant allies want to come through and support us in this process of initiation as we prepare to move into the rebirthing energy of the age of Aquarius. What plant allies wish to share their medicine and their wisdom with us, Spirit? Okay. Bottom of the deck, Bhavasana, trust. Yes, 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 trust, okay? There are directions that will be coming in that will get the compass rose of our heart properly aligned. This is about using this time to build the light within us, let it spiral out from us energetically to align us with a frequency that builds the joy of that hummingbird medicine. There's a lot of memory being awakened at this time as well through whale medicine. That's being able to access the Akashic records. That's being able to have the roots of our spirituality awaken within us as our soul wishes to express itself in this lifetime, in this incarnation, and the peace that we hold that we're meant to bring forward here that will align us with our North Node. And also understanding the way that the energy that we put out there spirals into creation with everyone else's energy that's being put out there that brings us to a certain destination collectively. And I'm seeing that as that star energy of Aquarius in the tarot, moving through the darkness and trusting that the light is still there, even though we may not be able to see it. This is what builds the way for the future for us. And it's coming in with the energy of the moon as well as the energy of Neptune. So yes, closing old karmic cycles, moving through that energy of where do we belong? Where is that sense of home? Where is the destination that is really connected to that energy of Cancer? And how can we nurture that vision of the star that is enough to nurture everyone, bringing in the spirit of that cauldron of Dagda, the inexhaustible source of nourishment for all. Also with the energy of Neptune, being able to dive deep into the source, being able to retrieve the knowledge we need to from source to be activated, to be able to trust the current, the flow, to be able to ride the waves of change. Some of those waves may feel like tsunamis. They may come in as a wake-up call through the form of a tower. We are all moving through this energy together. But there's a way we can even surf that, right? We can be like, the big kahuna, really riding that wave of change, leading that charge, going into that current and being willing to just ride it out and surf it the best we can. We may wipe out at times. That's okay. There are plenty of opportunities for mistakes along the way. That's what happens when you're moving into unknown territory, when you're trying to find a new way. Sometimes you trip up, sometimes you fall, but it's how you rise back up and what you learn from how you fell back there that really allows us to create a new way forward here, okay? So this is about trusting. Trusting also in the optimism, like trusting in the part of you that is the dreamer, trusting in the part of you that does have a vision, trusting in that, feeding that, nurturing that, and allowing that energy to build, even as it's not time to act yet, and trust that there is alchemy at play. The energy that you are putting out there is already in a creative phase. It's out in that quantum field. It's getting it on. The particles are vibrating together. And it won't be long until what's currently unseen will be seen manifest in your physical reality. So this is a big time for doing the alchemy work. The transformation happens within before it is seen without in the world around you. So do understand, though you may tell yourself nothing's happening, I feel like nothing's happening, here I am, another Mercury retrograde, I'm held back. No, everything's happening. It's that it's being mocked up within you first. So be mindful of this. You are in a process of alchemy right now. You're generating power within you. Where's that power coming from? It's being generated by the heart. The heart leads the way forward. This is about really calling in your path of heart during this time and trusting where your heart leads you, trusting what you are feeling, what you are sensing. This is key at this time because you are going to feel the way forward before you see the way forward. That's how it's emerging at this time, collective. Okay, let's see what else wants to come through here for us. What wants to come through for the collective in relation to this? Any more medicines, plant allies that want to teach us as we move through this Mercury retrograde cycle spirit? What plant medicines want to come in for us as we move through this cycle? One more, and then I'm going to do a cut the deck. What more wants to come through for us? I mean, trust is pretty foundational, and it's a big one, okay? Let's do a cut the deck and see what we got. Ooh. Well. Gabriel is blowing his horn, and it's to bring about death that's long overdue with Angel's trumpet here. We've had this come out frequently in recent reads. We have Pluto and Mars energy here, Scorpio signature, of course. We also have the North Node energy there with Aries. Now we know we're ready for this. We have Mercury trine Mars, okay? Let me take a moment here. Cheers. A little something for the homies with those deaths taking place as they roll out, I have to say. This ending is likely going to come through something that there's a gift that comes through it. There's a beauty in it. There's a little jewel. There's a little jewel of wisdom that you carry forward with you. There's a little brilliance that comes through this death. There's a beauty in the release of this. There's a beauty in the letting go of this. You know, this angel here with the horns, it's reminding me of Lucifer, right? Light bearer, the fallen angel energy. I mean, we did have this trickster energy come in. There's also that quality of rebellion, right? To really go your own way and to bring your own voice forward, your message forward, to bring your contribution forward, and that you might stir up controversy. And it's sort of like reminding me of that energy, right? And there's also the quality of, you know, Lucifer means light bearer. So I do feel like this energy is front and center. I also feel like there's a lot of these themes that are going to be playing out during this time where there's the polarization, you know, there's evil and then there's good. It's black, it's white, it's yes, it's no, it's all this quite like kind of dichotomous energy. And there is something that comes through understanding the totality of the energy, that darkness, light, good, evil, black, white, yes, no. Everything that appears opposite is actually two sides of the same coin. It's all an energy. It's all an energy form. And there's something that comes through what is an experience that may have been something that was very tempting, okay? Because I think of that energy of the devil, the trickster energy, and it is that quality of being lured in by something that appears very beautiful, very intoxicating, very alluring, much like the angel's trumpet, but is actually poisonous. And see, what's interesting about this is that you can, if you know how to, and I'm not recommending this, but I want to touch on this. I want to touch on the piece of the psychonaut who experiments, who plays with that which is poisonous to have an activation of awareness, of consciousness expansion, to blast open the doors of perception, much like Aldous Huxley spoke about in his book, The Doors, that inspired the band The Doors, I have to say. There is a way to take in Angel's trumpet and to have it used for a psychedelic experience, the waking of the consciousness on another stratum of being. But there's initiations to receive such knowledge. And that's what I feel we're going through. There's certain knowledge that wants to awaken within us, that helps us crack the code of the matrix, that gets us beyond these sort of divided places in our collective consciousness, where we can arrive at a unification point. And in a way, I think that message that's been coming in for Libra is speaking very strongly of that South Node energy, of those timelines sort of merging. They're not colliding, they're merging. And it's something that's happening over a period of time, so that it actually can come through with the most balance as possible, and not be such a frisson, not be such a disruptive kind of energy. It doesn't have to crack the ground open, right? It doesn't have to crack the ground open and swallow us whole. Instead, it's something that can rise up through the ground of our being, as we really allow ourselves to get our feet both on the ground, as we learn to ride that hedge, as we learn to ride that place that's the balancing point between contradiction, which is the eternal now. It's the moment of spontaneous response to the energy that is coming in for us. But this is a very new way of moving forward for the collective as a whole. So it does require that we continue to be in this state that on the surface it appears divided, 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future, 1 foot in the shadow, 1 foot in the light. But there is a place where they come together. And it was 1, 1, 1, 13 on the clock when I brought that in. Yes, it may seem off. It may seem like it's bad luck. It's a point of empowerment, actually. That the straddling of the divide, to learn how do we bring these energies together to recognize the unification point. Because what was the original lie? Let's just bring it in. The original lie was that there is separation. So I feel like this is a process that the collective is going through right now. It's certainly being played out on the stage of the worldwide view. There's lots of these themes that are at the forefront of the collective consciousness, especially right now, what's happening politically, globally. Okay. But this is about finding the way through. It is a bit like opening Pandora's box, but there is a jewel that we pull through that, okay? The cursed jewel. I had that download come in recently, and it's something I'm going to dive into in the future more here, probably during this cycle as Mercury retrograde rolls out. But that's what it's bringing in for me here. It's like realizing that the curse is the cure, because the curse gives the impetus to arrive at what's needed to transmute the energy. And there's a certain brilliance that comes through that makes us a bit like the impenetrable diamond. Okay, great clarity. And there's a richness that comes through that. So yes, we are preparing for initiation, the closing of one cycle to move into the rebirth energy that comes with death. Really potent. Gabriel energy front and center. So Gabriel's energy brings in that judgment card. This is transmuting the south node to be able to rise on up to that north node. This is necessary. Judgment in the tarot is associated with the sign of Libra. So these are kind of archetypal themes that are coming through for us during this cycle. I love this. But do you see what's on the other side here? I love it. We have lemon balm, nurture, and there is 7 energy. We have 5 coming in with 2. Okay, so the changes may initially feel destabilizing. They may feel disruptive, but they are to bring us into alignment with the two energy there. And it's about nurturing a new vision. Look, that's such star energy there. Look at the star energy coming through. And also with the bee medicine is about community. It's about the sweetness comes through community. And it was 1:14:33 on the clock, see? So we're moving through this territory where first we have to kind of like find ourselves in this cycle through pulling our energy back and having that time for solitary reflection and just sort of being in our own energy, because our own energy current is going through a radical transformation right now. There's an inner revolution happening before it happens in the world around us. And then certainly the energy progresses, right? It moves into the 6 degrees Sagittarius as it continues to retrograde Mercury through the sign. And we end up at that place where then it's time to build with community, join with community. And this is what's going to happen. We're going to start to come into alignment with those that actually help us nurture the vision and the way forward here. So I feel really called to read about lemon balm for us here. Lemon balm is very accessible, and it would be wonderful to work with lemon balm through doing steam inhalations. That's one way that you can clear out the grief and the heavy emotions that are connected to the closing of old cycles. It creates more breathing room. So this may be something you want to experiment with in terms of lemon balm. You can also add it to your baths, your spiritual baths. It can be a wonderful ally. And it does align with the energy of Jupiter. So I really do appreciate this. It will help give us that breathing room that allows us to take up more space and move into expansion, to prepare to enter into this expansion and nurture it in a way that it doesn't feel so harsh, because lemon balm is like a balm to the soul. It brings in that kind of energy. So I do want to bring this in. I'm going to read into this just to learn a bit about the roots. I really love this particular deck. This is the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And I just find it so rich because it makes a lot of connecting points through different traditions, different spiritual schools of thought, through different philosophies. It also brings together different cultures and teaches us the roots of these different plant allies that I think is a beautiful way to help us focus on connecting points rather than dividing lines, which I think is essential work for moving into the future. And I'm going to be bringing a lot more of that in here because it was my initial vision for BroadCoven, and I want to start bringing a lot more of that back in. But much like you all, man, I've been moving through these waves of change, and there's times that, I've wiped out. There's times that I've needed to integrate stuff and felt like I need to fall back. It's not time to lead at this time. It's not time to bring my voice forward. It's time for me to follow those breadcrumbs of the dark wood. Okay, so this is also about nurturing the vision as it wants to come through, to understand the ebbs and flows of the energy as it expresses itself. Lemon balm, nurture, Melissa officinalis, upright, which we have it upright, Earth Mother, access to the ways of the earth, planetary guardian, balance of feelings and emotions, nurturance. Reversed, I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to bring in the shadow aspect so you can be aware of the medicine that's needed to transmute, to arrive at the cure. In the shadow, disconnection from the Great Mother. So we need to reconnect with the earth. We also need to reconnect with the yin energy, the quality of the feminine, which is to open ourselves to receiving. We can't receive if we're always trying to lead or take charge. We can't receive if we're constantly in a place where we're closed off or where we feel like we have to take control of situations that doesn't allow the softness or the openness to receive. Lack of self-nurturance, see? So do use this time to pour into yourself or to create that breathing room. Give yourself some self-care with steam inhalations. It's so easy to do. Lemon balm is very easily accessible. All you have to do is get some of the fresh lemon balm and you can put it in a big basin or big bowl of water that has been boiled. So you got that steam rising, and then you can tent your head with a big towel and you just breathe deeply. That's it. And you can use it almost like an opportunity to sweat, to go into a sweat and to allow your visions to come forward. You can even scry in this way, but it gives space for there to be a sense of safeness and moving into expansion, as well as getting out old ama from the lungs, that which is undigested, old undigested emotions, old undigested energy, old undigested cycles that you've been moving through. Macrocosm is reflected in microcosm. It's all interconnected. So even as you give yourself this physical care and you clear all that like stuck energy that presents itself like mucus or phlegm in the lungs out, you can free up the space for emotional release. You'll be surprised how much it allows you to take in more prana, which is life force energy. Okay. This is very important during this cycle to nurture yourself, to give yourself that care, and to not feel guilty about that. It's also the wounded inner child. And yes, when we're looking at Aries in the North Node position, we also have to remember that Aries is also hosting Chiron at this time, which is the wound of the self. And often that does require us to integrate very young parts of ourselves, vulnerable parts of ourselves too, but also reclaim the best parts of ourselves, often the parts of ourselves that were abandoned in the past because they were too much of the dreamer. They were too fantastical. There was just too much magic for it possibly to be real. And we are meant to call that magic back. So as we call these young parts of ourselves back, we also reclaim the magic. And that's such a beautiful energy to weave forward collectively. It was 1:22:23 on the clock. So I feel like this is an important alignment for all of us and the change we're being asked to activate in the world. We need to bring the magic back. We need to bring the merrymaking back. We need to open up our imaginations as far as what's possible. Nothing's impossible. We all can make it possible by just inviting a little bit more of the dreamer in us to come forward in waking reality. It's also healing the mother archetype, okay? So there may be a lot coming forward where you're integrating lessons of the mother at this time. And the astrological ruler is Ceres and Jupiter. So I would say look at your progressed chart and understand where's Ceres right now in your chart. Where is Jupiter right now in your chart? What kind of transit action do you have going on, as well as your natal chart, just to understand how these energies might be coming through for you individually. Melissa officinalis is derived from the Greek word melissa, meaning honeybee, and it was planted by beekeepers at the temple of Artemis to keep the sacred honeybees happy. Both in ancient Greece and Turkey, it was believed that planting lemon balm near beehives would attract honeybees and prevent them from abandoning the hive. In the Middle Ages, a sprig of lemon balm was said to staunch bleeding. In more recent history, lemon balm is used for its relaxing effect on the central nervous system, providing great relief from stress, anxiety, and depressive moods. Scientific studies have also found that lemon balm greatly eases the negative mood effects from psychological stress. Various cultures held the belief that lemon balm retained mystical soothing and memory powers. Ooh, I love that. Retaining some kind of magical memory, perhaps waking up through your roots. In folklore, it was used to ward off evil and promote good health and happiness. An ancient Arab physician from the 11th century named Avicenna, I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly, Avicenna, believed lemon balm causeth the mind and heart to become merry. And he introduced this herb as a cure for depression and anxiety. Lemon balm embodies the archetype of both Jupiter and its feminine counterpart, the asteroid Ceres. Roman goddess Ceres rules health, agriculture, nutrition, fertility, our relationship to mothers. So it sounds like big Empress energy, the nurturance or lack thereof within family relationships, and our ultimate connection to Mother Earth. Ceres describes what we need to feel nurtured in this life and how we nurture those around us. I love that. Bringing in first the individual, then the collective energy through our individual contribution for nurturing of the vision. Beautiful. I love the way that's coming in. Like Jupiter, her qualities are jovial, supportive to our sense of well-being and longevity. Guidance for the collective at this time during Mercury retrograde. Give yourself permission to mother the deepest core of yourself. Listen to your inner child. Retrieve the unconscious parts of your past. Forgive yourself and liberate the inner child that has remained silent. Lemon balm assists us in reconnecting to the gentle power of nurturance. Her soft and gentle touch reminds us to connect to the great mother in all her shapes and forms. The medicine of honeybee is here to survive you and serve you. It says serve you, but I brought in survive you. So that legacy energy coming through, very interesting. That just wanted to come in. It slipped in on its own. All right. The medicine of honeybee is here to survive you and serve you. And I mean, we need the honeybees, right? We need the honeybees for propagation. So I feel like this theme is really coming through too in the hive mind here, okay? Prompting you to ask yourself, where can I soften and receive? How can I access my inner child to access great wholeness? Honeybee symbolizes the magic of nectar, vitality, prosperity, and the great inner and outer wealth that is ahead. What a beautiful message. I'm glad I chose to tune in on that. And I do believe we've already looked before in depth at Angel's Trumpet. And I feel like we really touched on that energy just in terms of what came through and what we already talked about. I do want to get some numbers for us that may give us like key dates or certain numerological alignments, life paths that may factor prominently for us that are coming through here. Let's see what we got coming in. Okay, so I love this. So we are moving forward, okay? This came out, this running man, but he's like running on air, okay? So there is a bit of that sort of like Dakini energy in place, Skywalker energy, all right? So there is this sort of taking what seems like it's very lofty or unacceptable, okay, unacceptable. It did come through as controversial, okay? So this may be something that is really outside the box. I was going to say inaccessible. I think it's saying it's unacceptable to think it's inaccessible. It's not. It wants to come through you. It wants to draw down through you. But this is a bit of moving forward in a different kind of way. It's like we are accessing those higher realms, and we're sort of dancing up there in the ethers to eventually bring it down and root it in our earth walk. But we're moving against the grain right now, right? We're moving in a different sort of way. We're backsliding to move forward. That's a download that had come in for me before as well. Just like Michael Jackson, you know, he backslid across that stage when he brought in backsliding and the moonwalk at the American Music Awards with the Billie Jean performance. It was huge. It catapulted him forward, right? But he was moving backwards, and the forward progression was evident in that one moment of time. It's that kind of energy here, okay? So there is moving forward here, but do expect things to be out of the ordinary. Do expect to get a radically different view. Do expect that there will be a lot coming in that feels sort of like otherworldly, out of this world, maybe even tapping into certain awareness, certain consciousness, certain downloads coming in that you haven't had access to before. So I do feel like expansion on this level, but there is forward progression. And we have Life Path 6 coming in here. We have Life Path 2 coming in here. Also, this is about bringing the vision in, okay? Bringing it down from the ether and rooting it in material reality. So this is sort of like the bridge between heaven and earth is coming through us, okay? It's coming through humankind here, and coming into partnership in such a way that we can be the balancing point between the two, rather than being something that causes fracturing or division. Understanding that what manifests spiritually in the material reality, or from the intangible into the tangible, is all relational to the quality of conduit that we are, okay? This piece coming in. The second could be a very important date for us. That's when we actually move into the light building phase of the new moon. The new moon in Sagittarius will come in on the 30th of November, 1st of December, depending on where you are in the world. But I do feel like once we're moving into the light building phase, out of the dark moon phase of the new moon, that's when the vision starts to hatch. That's when the facade starts to crack even more. The hidden parts start to come through the surface of things, and that's what shines the way forward. First, it will shine some light on some shadow aspects and what needs to be released, but it also gives us a new vision of the way forward. It gives us a new vision of ourselves. It gives us a new vision of the world. It gives us a new vision of each other here. Next June, we will see the vision that comes in at this time come into alignment and manifestation with that 8 energy. Okay, so Life Path 8 factoring in strongly as well here. This is about power. What is true power? And really holding that as we move through this cycle, that will continue to progress as we move further into the energy of Pluto in Aquarius. We're going to get very familiar with this energy. We're in this energy now for the long haul. So in order to understand how to hold power wisely, how to make all things sound, hold power in a balanced way, how to share power collectively, you first have to experience the shadow aspect of that. In order to find center, it's sort of like a pendulum, right? It swings wildly, right? From one direction to the next. And that's sort of where we are right now. We're in this sort of polarized, place. But you'll notice that as time has gone on, though there still is the polarization, more and more things are becoming a bit more moderate. So there's sort of like a tempering that's occurring at this time, just from a socio-political standpoint, let's say, okay? But this is certainly what is going on with the collective energy as a whole on all stratums of being. This process will continue, but there will be times of disruption. It's necessary because there has to be this sort of modulation of the extremes, right? This is what we're going to find. We're taking that shadow and light and we're tempering it. We're in the process of alchemy. It's the same thing when you turn lead to gold. This is what we're working with here. What we're working with feels heavy. We're working with some poisonous material here. We're working with a poisonous medium. We know that lead is poisonous, okay? Lead is poisonous, and yet there's gold that can come out of this process. So we have to allow ourselves to stay still sometimes and allow the balance to sort of swing to and fro before that ball finally drops and settles in the center. Then we have clarity, okay? So this is the process we're moving through right now. Ultimately, the way we ride this out individually determines the kind of power we step into the new year with this Mercury retrograde cycle. There also can be, if we are in that place of really holding our peace, working with that energy, building our vision, activating our visions quietly, we can see them root powerfully in our material reality in the opening of the new year. I feel like, especially in Aquarius season, February coming through as a big sort of like jump off point of the dream being rooted in material reality and coming through to the point of fruition in June when we have the changing of the nodes of destiny there. And by Leo season, there will really be something that will be a shining moment. That's like all lights on in the room, August, I feel, okay? That coming in quite strongly there. Okay, quite a bit of information there. Let's go ahead and get a little spirit board action just to see what energy wants to come through, what messages want to come through in Mercury retrograde. Okay, I don't know what kind of messages will come through. They might be tricky. We are in pre-shadow, right? But hopefully we can get a little heads up, a little clarity here, some details that can highlight some things for us. Okay. Let's see what we have. Well, it's coming through right off the bat. And so let's go ahead and just talk about the elephant in the room. We do have Putin coming through. So I do think everybody is taking in what's happening on the level of the worldwide stage and the power dynamics as they are playing out at this time. The energy does feel very big. And of course, it does warrant some reflection. It is a very big energy that is taking up the collective consciousness at this time. There's also something that is coming through in relation to this that is important to remember. And it's really coming through as drama, okay? As in dramatics, as in theatrics, and also understanding that as information comes through, it may seem like we're seeing the big picture when really we are just seeing but a little puzzle piece of it. There's a lot that is hidden, okay? And there is a lot of theater in play at this time. There's also a lot of manipulation during this cycle that we do need to be aware of, okay? Also, I encourage you not to get into arguments at this time. around this, because it just doesn't really provide anything of value. What's important is that you get very clear about your position, your truth, your perspective, how you feel about things, and that you're sort of really maintaining your own energy as you move through this cycle. I feel like the more you feel like sort of pushing that envelope or trying to force others to feel the way you do about these big stage issues, these global issues, will only be a source of further strife. What's important is that we remember that we're all in this together. We're all collectively moving through this energy. And so I know there's been a lot of falling out, especially around politics. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of dividing lines between loved ones. And I have to say, right now is the time that we should be pulling together, not falling apart. Okay. Do be aware of divisory agendas. It is something to be mindful of at this time, right? Wanted to bring that in. It's very, it's very much at the forefront. Yes. Remember the BS. Okay. Don't buy into the BS. Don't buy into the belief systems. The more that you are also willing to have your belief systems go through some kind of transformation, the more that you will be able to work with this energy that is going to be in play in a way that can have you really stepping into your power in a way that you know how to wield that power wisely in the world, right? There are some aspects of ourselves and of the old identity that do need to die off. It's a pruning of sorts, and it creates further growth down the road. It creates a blooming, a blossoming that we may not see at this time with the fixation on the thorns, but it will be understood in time, okay? I also have hay. Make hay while the sun shines, okay? So do take advantage of the moments when you are feeling the Mercury trine Mars energy and you do feel like diving into something, throwing some energy at something. You got the energy coming in that can back up you directing it toward this vision that will start to come forward for you. There's something about doing what you can while you can. And when you need to pull your energy back and rest, respect that, okay? Respect your ebbs and flows. Got the Egyptian god Ra's energy coming through quite strongly in relation to this. We also have bat energy here. So we know that we are going through an initiation. We are moving through the unknown. There's a lot of aspects that are normally hidden or in the shadow or are a mystery to us that are being revealed to us, and that it is creating internal shakeup. And as it's doing this, it's causing a lot that we thought was certain fall away. But this is good. It opens up a perception and it allows what needs to fall away, what needs to come to an end to do so, so that we can step into a new kind of identity, right? A new way of viewing ourselves. It's like the old form needs to be released because we're meant to take up more space than we have in the past. And there is something that does want to come through us. And with that, it's interesting. There's a lot of Egyptian energies that are wanting to come through here. I have Bast, and with that cap. So yes, there's also a bit of diving into the other side of the Scorpio energy that comes in through Scorpius constellation being activated at this time, which is, working with the taboo energy a bit, pulling out the delicious aspects of diving into the mystery and exploring the unknown and looking at different ways of tapping into your spiritual potential. It's also about pleasure as a gateway. And it makes me think in terms of the goddess, because there was that piece that came in about reclaiming the earth mother. And it makes me think of Gaia energy. It makes me think of the goddess energy. And Doreen, Doreen, what's her last name? Oh, I can't remember. She wrote The Charge of the Goddess, okay? There's a place in The Charge of the Goddess where she says, all acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. And so I do feel like this piece is coming in. There was the part of self-care that came in, okay? There was the part of self-care that came through. Self-care, though, through pleasure, through indulging in pleasures, simple pleasures, indulging in more the playfulness, right? More of the fun, you know? Remember to bring these pieces in too. It's important that we recover this aspect of ourselves and that we don't become too identified with a sense of stoicism. While stoicism is important in some respects, it's also important that we don't lose our sense of absurdity and our sense of humor as we move through this terrain, because we really are going to invent the way as we move forward, okay? So there is that spirit of don't lose the young part of yourself. Recover the young part of yourself that was a dreamer, because it's very beneficial during this time. These are the messages that want to come through. Okay, that's what I got. Letters of significance that may come through for you during this cycle. This can be initials, and I'll call anything out that comes in as I do this. We have G, we have I coming through quite strongly. So it is about really aligning with your independent energy. You know, you got to be true to yourself. And in order to do that, you need to come into alignment with your truth. So you have to work with Frog Rock, okay? That sword of truth that's also the answer that will make your way through very clear. So we see that all the eyes, though, do come together in the end into the collective energy. And it reminds me of that energy that does represent the collective, which is I am, right? Okay. I am. Okay, we have the letter A. A lot of A's coming through here. Quite a few got 4 A's. So yes, I am. But also recognizing that we're all that energy. It is one energy. It's also giving me the impression of we're just at the starting point. Do remember this. Don't try to race ahead too fast. We are just at the starting point. Got double B's here, okay? We have C. We have triple D's coming in here. That's a whole lot of nurturing from mama's milk, I have to say, okay? So yes, we need to really focus on this quality of nurturing right now. It is our key word, okay? We do need to focus on our nurturing. Oh, we actually have 5 eyes. I love that, okay? So 5, it's the number of destabilization. It's the number of change. And we know that we are moving from individual consciousness to collective consciousness. That is what this transition is all about. That is what the transit of Pluto in Aquarius is all about. It is about a shift in consciousness on a very expansive level beyond just the individual to encompass the whole. Right? It's the difference between thinking on a microcosm level to looking at things through a macrocosm reality tunnel. That really is what it's about. And then we have E, and we have H, we have Y, we have double S's here, we have double T's here, we have double R's here, we have double L's here, we have P, and we have U. It all comes down to you in the end. What piece will you hold? This is chess, not checkers. You're not here to be a pawn, okay? You're here to hold your part, and it's all about the moves you make, okay? That's what I got. I hope you found this beneficial. I really felt like diving into this energy of the retrograde for this week for our collective download. It felt good. And I hope, just having that word of a focal point to move through this energy can be something you take with you as you move through this cycle, and that it will benefit you in many ways. Thank you so much for dropping in with me. And we'll be doing more drop-ins like this as we move through the cycle. Whatever wants to come through, I'm just moving with the current here. I'm moving with the flow of what wants to come through. And we'll see where it carries us. I think we'll like where we end up. I do. I'm an optimist. But then I have a lot of Sagittarius in me. All right. See you soon.